What's up, YouTube family? We're back with a little more Archie Bunker today.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
That's Sam. I'm Phil. We're Bars and Barbells as a team. We've done one video from Archie Bunker. We went back to the 1970s when this show was running, I think from 1971 to 1979. And so I had some familiarity with the show for the reruns, obviously.
Yes, I had never heard of it.
No. But with that said, what did you think
I thought
after
it was
watching our
pretty
last
funny.
clip?
I thought it was good. It reminds me just of there's always these family soap opera kind of sitcoms throughout the generations. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of interesting seeing an older version of that. And
That was
where
from the 70s, yeah.
Yeah, right. So I definitely watched some of them through the 90s into the 2000s, right? But it's kind of interesting to see the ones that were there and how that could have influenced some of the ones that I watched. Like growing up, I watched Everybody Loves Raymond
Right.
a lot. We watched that. Roseanne. We watched Full House. We watched Modern Family a little bit later on. So
Right.
you can see how elements of that get brought into that
Yeah, I
idea
mean,
these days.
although today I don't know how many of those are still relevant because so many people are watching streaming or YouTube or everything else. Well, I mean, we're reliving, I guess, the older ones now on YouTube by doing stuff like this, right? We're going back to the 70s, and what was ironic about that one, we did gun control, right?
Yes, yeah.
And that last one, what was ironic is we saw a lot of the same arguments
they're
being
still there today.
portrayed 50 years later. And so although the sitcom was from something from the 70s, the topic was still relevant today, which was pretty mind-blowing to me anyways. And so we've got Democrats in this one. No idea what to expect. This is just one of the more popular recommended clips from the show, which was All in the Family. And apparently we said in the pop quiz last one that Archie Bunker's Place was the spin-off show, right? But actually there was 3 or 4 of them that were spin-offs. So people were a little bit confused when we gave them that answer. They were I think another one was the Jeffersons. And so you guys were giving the Jeffersons as the answer. Some people were saying Archie Bunker's Place. But clearly there's a lot of content related to Archie Bunker and All in the Family.
And they had a couple shows come from it.
Yeah. So anyways, let's get into this. Let's check out the clip from the Democrats, a little bit shorter clip, and we'll see if it's relevant to what's going on today.
Yeah, let's do it.
Leave it there. And let me ask you this. Do you think Jimmy is roaming around the White House tonight trying to find a meatloaf to warm himself up on?
I don't think the Carters eat meatloaf.
Who the hell are they? They're only from Georgia.
So Jimmy Carter is former president of the United States.
Okay.
That's who they're talking about.
That's from that time period?
Yeah, I would believe so.
Who the hell are they? They're only from Georgia. Oh, let me tell you something. I am so sick of Washington and all its works and all them politicians down there and them congressmen and the congressmen, boy. I'll bet you won't find none of them congressmen turning down their electric blankets tonight. Because if they did, their secretaries would get up and go home. Oh, read this. The Democrats is doing the Democrats. And you put them in there.
So that reminds me, because he said turning down their electric blankets, right? So I'm not sure if that's in reference to energy conservation.
Oh, okay.
Which is a going theme today.
Yeah.
In the same light. I could be wrong about that, but that's just what it made me think of.
Oh, read this. The Democrats is doing the Democrats. And you put them in there. That's the face you had on you when you come back in the polls. Well, the Democrats' way of running this country is to go tell us all how we ought to make sacrifices. God, they're great on that stuff. But they're all going to have us over the hill to the poorhouse. We ain't going to be able to drive over there because we ain't got no gas, so we're going to have to walk it.
Oh, the Reader's Digest says walking is very good for you.
Oh, ain't that lovely? The Reader's Digest can always put a little joy into poverty.
That's so mind-blowing, again, that we're going back 50 years and it's the same stuff that's being said, basically.
Yeah, like the same platforms of the ideas that people are arguing for and against and battling about.
Yeah, in particular with like Democrats versus Republicans, right? Like the same ideas perpetuate. It's just like the going theme for the party, quote unquote. You have the capitalist side for conservatives or Republicans, and then you have the socialist side for, you know, the Democrats most of the time that I've been around anyways. And this is prior to when I've been around, and it's the exact same thing. It's just so mind-blowing to me.
I know, it's crazy. And as a health enthusiast, walking is good for you.
That is very true. She's not saying you need to be poor and in poverty.
No, you can drive, but walking is good for you.
But walking is definitely helpful.
Listen, my whole point is this whole thing with the energy and everything. This is all a conspiracy. No, that is a conspiracy. Listen, for years, all our lives, they've been telling us to go out and buy stuff that use energy. You know, all electrical stuff. Then you got electric toasters, electric ovens, electric stove, electric stereo, electric TV, electric race, electric hair blower, electric knives, electric every damn thing. Not to mention the cars. And now, after all the big corporations there make the billions and billions of dollars worth of profits, signals, wham, they're changed. And after telling us for years that we can't live without this junk, now they tell us that we gotta live without it. The country is going straight into the dumper.
Wild.
Got a point.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Yeah.
That is the going theme of Congress and politics and Washington, as he alluded to in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. But he's got a point, right? Like they tell you your whole life that you need this, you need that, buy this, buy that. And then now all of a sudden that too much energy is used. It's like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying, though, is like nobody wants to do these things themselves. They just want to tell everybody else what they need to do about them. Yeah. And, you know, a prime example of that, which drives me absolutely bonkers, is when you're told to reduce your consumption, like he was saying, the electricity, but also in, you know, fuel. You know, I think he made another reference in that. And you have billionaires, celebrities, whatever, flying around in their private jet. All over the place, producing more emissions than thousands of people combined. And those thousands of people have to be the ones that reduce their consumption, not the person that's doing the traveling all around. Why? Because they're more important. They're doing more important things.
Yeah, well, you have these billionaires flying to the meetings about the energy consumption in their private jet.
Right, exactly. And so it's, you know, like I said, that's why I'm saying it's so easy to point the finger at somebody else. And I think also, you know, that this didn't even touch on the flying aspect, right? And because, you know, at the time, flying wasn't as popular. Commercial flying wasn't as popular for people. But now that it's become more popular for everybody to be able to fly, all of a sudden you're hearing these sentiments of, you know, there's too much people moving around conversely to the way it was, you know, 30 years ago, right? And I just find it hilarious that this, again, was talked about 50 years ago. Anyway, so I think, like, this says Democrats, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the theme of this conversation is about, what the Democrats were saying.
Policies, yeah.
But I think this can be applicable to both sides of the aisle for different reasons. Because, you know, you'll have the Democrats, like he was saying, with the electric side of things now. But then you'll have the Republicans with the oil side of things, right, for energy consumption, right? And so, you know, the Democrats are trying to act like electricity is better, and the Republicans say, well, no, that's ridiculous because it causes more issues with mining and more destruction and blah, 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 blah. And then you have the reverse for Democrats saying the same thing about oil, like, oh, no, it's just, all it is a lobby effect that, you know, so people are trying to control energy consumption because energy is the end-all, be-all of civilization, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
It's, you know, positively correlated with the growth of GDP. If you're a country that is developing energy, generally your GDP is going to flow with that, right? So that's why you see, you know, these countries that are deemed like, you know, emerging markets are starting to do better in the economy as a world economy because they're producing more energy, right? So anyways, I'm going on a tangent here, but clearly Archie Bunker was relevant in the 70s to what we're talking about again today.
Yeah, and I think a big piece of that, without going down the rabbit hole, is that a lot of the time these parties are just so head in the sand buried about like no wiggle room on any of their policies that like things never change because they're never going to swing completely one way or the other. So they're never going to move forward fast enough to find a common ground because there's no compromise, right? So it's always like my way or the highway attitude. And then you're going to still have these ideas 10, 20, 30 years down the road because you're not going to get very far if you're not willing to compromise.
Yeah, and I think, that comes back to my thesis is it's about everybody's own vested interests.
Yes.
Right? It's not about the common good of people as a whole, as society, of the world, the population, all that stuff. It's because certain people have an interest in it going a certain way.
Yep.
Right? And so the resolutions that they're putting forth are the ones that are going to benefit them the most.
Yeah.
It's not like we're sitting down having a conversation about how we can improve civilization and humanity in the next 100 years or something like that. It's literally like, well, okay, what's important to me and how do I want this to play out? And then alongside that, when you talk about politicians, it's like, who is their donors, right?
Yeah.
Where are they getting their
have
money
to
from?
please?
Who have I told that I owe them a favor, right? And what kind of laws am I going to pass?
The puppet strings.
Exactly, right? And that's where all the second, third, fourth order effects come into play about Democrats and Republicans. So that's enough of the rant today. All thanks and brought to you by Archie Bunker and All in the Family.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was good though. It's interesting, like I said, to see kind of what this looked like in that time period.
Yeah, no, it makes me more solidified in my beliefs in some of the things I was just talking about by seeing it 50 years ago.
Yeah.
To know that, like, I'm not just thinking this way now. There's been a lot of people thinking like this before me,
There'll probably
and
be a
before
lot
them,
after.
and before them, and like you said, long after. And ironically, though, we have TV and reminiscing and going back now to see what people were talking about.
Yeah.
Because generations prior to us, like the generations of Archie Bunker, maybe would have saw some stuff on TV, reminiscing on the past, but not as much as we're seeing today.
No, we have way more access now.
And so now people are going to be catching on a bit more to be like, wait a minute. You mean they were saying the same thing back then and you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes again?
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, that's it from us today. I hope you enjoyed our reaction, our authentic and honest reactions that you can count on. And you want to join the conversation down below, just make sure you keep those comments PG. We're not trying to start a war with anybody. We're just having a conversation. If you want to join the conversation, we'd love to have you there.
Yes, come join us.
A part of the community as well. If you want to hit the subscription button and the notification bell. And if you do, that means we'll see you in our next video. And if you got some recommendations for Archie Bunker going forward, we'd love to have them. So drop it down low and we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.